You'll make this rather snappy, won't you? I have some very heavy thinking to do before 10 o'clock.
Good morning, everybody. This is Get It Right Texoma, and I'm Terry.
And I'm Trey.
Yeah, and
this is Mike right here.
And Mike is over there, always with us.
Our podcast partner in the sky.
There you go. So we do this every Friday morning, 7:30. And live, and we I don't know that we've had to do. We did one. I think we had to do.
We've done a couple remotes, but it's been a long
delayed
or
whatever, or not live. But anyway, it still plays at 7:30, even if
consistency.
There you go.
Consistency. It plays at 7:30 every morning on Facebook and YouTube.
Yep.
And we always have great guests, or not all. When we have guests, are all great.
Yes.
And this morning is Wichita County Judge Jim Johnson.
Jim Johnson, yeah, and he's going to tell us all about what he's been doing and maybe what his future is, because
he will not be the county judge. We do know that. He will not be the county judge in 2027.
Right. He's bowing out and letting somebody else take the reins.
That's right.
And but otherwise, on this every Saturday, every Friday when we go live, we also can take your comments live. So get on Facebook and YouTube, and I can see them right here on the screen. I have see you, and we'll try to get you in there. Sometimes we get so busy though, and we're talking with the guest, it's hard to
start yapping.
Yeah, I know. And so I'll try to keep that in mind.
We're like professional yappers.
Yeah, but if we can, well, anyway, just please comment and share and all that good stuff. And so let's get into it. This is Get It Right Texoma.
That's right. As always, our first item is the local restaurant focus.
Yes.
Where we go in and we just to kind of refresh everybody. This is a thing that we do. We don't take any money. We don't take any donations. We don't take any food. Nothing on this. It's 100% just a community service thing.
Right.
And what we usually like to highlight local restaurants.
There you go.
And this one is a long time place. I don't know how long they've been around,
yes.
but when I was in high school, Sevy's was around. I believe, if I remember correctly, I think they were around then. Sevy's Burrito on 9th Street.
Yes.
And now they've moved around a couple places on 9th Street, but they're on 9th Street right now on the north side of the road, across from what used to be on the north end, across from Luby's and that sort of thing.
Yep.
But they've been there a long time. I mean, they were were the original monster burrito in Wichita Falls.
Oh yeah, they're huge.
Yeah, I mean, when you go in there and get a burrito, you either be hungry, or you want to share it, or you're willing to put it up and use it as leftovers. It's a 2-meal. It is a 2 big meal burrito.
Yeah, and they make their burrito, the tortillas there.
The tortillas are huge.
Yeah,
everything's fresh.
Oh yeah.
Hand cut. I mean, great old world Tex-Mex or Mexican. It depends and I believe they have menudo and stuff like that as well, which is more traditional Mexican. It's not just a burrito shop. Did somebody just pop something up there?
Oh, I don't know. Did they?
It's not just a burrito shop. It's actually a restaurant. And they actually have lunch as well. So they're open. I don't think they do dinner. I think they're like a breakfast and lunch only. Okay. I think we couldn't find their they don't really have like a website.
No, they just make burritos.
But if you scroll down, well, burritos and other things. I mean, I've had tacos there. Their tacos are really good as well.
Right.
Like at lunch. So, but if you scroll down, you could see. There you go. They have their menu. So if you're curious about what all they have. You can go on their Facebook page, double-click, and you'll see all their menus. And that sort of thing.
And I'm sure the menu pricing probably might not. They probably, again, they don't focus on this part of it, but hey,
Yeah, if you go in there and you say, hey, it says $9.99 on the menu and it's $11.99, it's $11.99.
Yeah.
That's one of those deals also. Look, people have to price stuff to make money. Don't bitch and moan about it.
Yeah.
If $2 is going to break you, go home and make a ham sandwich.
Yeah.
And I'm serious about that. The restaurants work on such thin margins as it is, and there's so much waste and stuff like that that's inherently built into a restaurant. And you have to understand, if you don't want to go there or you think their food's overpriced, don't
go there.
Effing go there.
Right.
I mean, why complain and bitch and moan about it? Just don't go. You have a choice, because, by the way, they're not coming to your door and handing you food and then demanding money.
No.
You reach out to the restaurant.
Right.
Even if you do Grubhub, you initiated this whole thing.
Yep.
Or you go there.
Yep.
So don't bitch about the prices.
All right, there you go.
So Sevy's Burritos, 9th Street. Go check them out. really good food and a lot of different types of burritos and that sort of thing. But they also do lunch. We always call it Cindy's Burritos, but they do more than burritos.
Yes, and then my favorite burrito is just breakfast burrito with the sausage, egg, cheese, and onions. I'm sorry.
My go-to on breakfast burritos is chorizo, egg, cheese, and onion.
Yeah, something about chorizo. There's a
chorizo.
spice in the chorizo.
Oh,
My wife loves chorizo as well, but
and it's one of those deals you do not want to. You
Nah.
talk about when somebody says you don't want to see how the sausage is made. You really don't want to see how chorizo is made.
Okay, well, I won't.
It's like after they scraped everything up and made sausage, then whatever was left on the floor, they scraped it up again and made chorizo. It's great.
All right, well then.
That's why they dump a bunch of spices and stuff to kind of mask what it is. Because every once in a while you get a bone in chorizo.
Yeah, because it's pork. Well,
it's sausage. It's usually it's pork and stuff, and every once in a while you'll get a bone in there.
All right, so what's going on in this town?
FallsCon.
FallsCon.
Yeah, I believe this is. We've got a thing here.
Yep.
It looks like it's kind of a gaming, comic type thing. You know, Comic-Con came out. Oh, I don't know what a decade or so ago or 15 years ago. I heard about Comic-Con, but now everything's a con.
Yeah.
You got
convention, I guess.
Yeah, it's basically a convention, a nerd convention.
Yeah.
So and look, and I say that lovingly. If you're into this and you're into game, but you see, Maniacs Mansion, Carolina Comics, and stuff like that.
State Farm, they're into. No.
There you go. If you're into fantasy type stuff, if you're into comic books, if you're into gaming, I believe. I mean, you can click on there. There's a few things that talk about games and stuff like that.
Let's see.
Look, I'm going to tell you, if you're bored on Friday or Saturday or Sunday, I guess, it's 3 days. It's today, tomorrow, and Sunday.
Okay.
If you're bored, you want to go just kind of people watch, it may be fun to do that.
We'll see here. You got. Yeah.
So I rolled into, this was about probably 15 years ago. I rolled into Austin, which, Austin is Austin, right?
Yeah. Keep it weird, right?
I was down there for a business meeting, and I got there early, so I went ahead and checked in my hotel. Well, as I pull into my hotel, I see a Corvette, and it was a brand new Corvette come out, and a girl who's not a girl, a woman, because these were grown people, dressed in an angel costume, gets out of the Corvette, and with her, she's got another woman in a dog costume.
Okay.
With a leash. And they're walking in. And I'm like, okay.
Was the angel holding the leash?
Yes.
Oh.
So,
okay.
So now I'm going, okay. And then I started looking around, and there's all these costumes. I'm the only dude that's dressed like normal, right?
Yeah.
So I go up there, and I wait to get checked in. I walk up there, and, of course, the hotel staff is dressed like normal. I go up there, and I say, what the hell's going on? I'm trying to be coy about it because there's people everywhere. And he goes, you ever heard of anime? And I'm like, nope. And this was 15 years ago. He said, it's an anime convention. And I go, what the hell's anime? He said, you ever heard of a Trekkies? And I said, yeah. He said, like the new age Trekkies.
Go Speed Racer. Go Speed.
Let me tell you something, dude. It was so. I was by myself, and I had probably another hour and a half before I had to get to my function that night. I went and put my bags upstairs. I went and sat my ass downstairs in the lobby for another hour and just watched people. It was crazy. And it was almost all adults. I mean, there were a few kids out there. But it's so interesting to see people that are doing something that we would consider odd or strange, but they feel comfortable doing it because they're in a group of a bunch of them doing it. And everybody was nice. It wasn't like anybody was, and it wasn't like, it wasn't sexual type thing. I mean, there was some risque costumes, but it wasn't like the whole thing was.
No, well, that whole genre is that. I mean, it's just
there's but there was mostly it wasn't risque.
No, but there are. I say that it's not the whole genre, but obviously, but there's a lot to it. Yes. And now, and I mentioned I started singing the. Did you watch Speed Racer when you were a kid?
A little bit.
Okay, well that I think was kind of one of the early.
I don't know that it would have been considered anime, but it was Japanese comic, right? Japanese drawing, yes.
So, but anyway, so that's.
But yeah, Speed Racer is a great example of kind of, I think the aesthetic of how the comic is drawn. And anyhow, FallsCon.
Well, and 2-3 weeks ago, I was in Dallas for a couple of days for an IT convention thing, and when we were wrapping up, I was coming, about to leave, go get my car, and I go through these doors, and I think we were at the Marriott Dallas downtown. It's kind of a mall and a
right.
And anyway, coming from the mall area and walking back into the hotel, and I looked over, and there's this person on their phone, but they have this big animal head on. And I'm like, okay. And then there's somebody they're with that has their head set over, but I was like, what am I? And then I look over, there's more to the left. They're all kind of checking in. I'm like, oh my, all kinds of getting in the elevator.
Can you imagine trying to get it, like 4 of them in the elevator to take the damn elevator up?
Oh, I know. This is completely off topic. Have you been
I can't believe that we do something off topic.
I know, but related to at least the hotel. So I meant to bring this up to you earlier when I ran into this when I got back, but the elevators in this hotel and in over in the mall area, because that's where they do their actual conventions and stuff or their events. So get this. You walk up to these elevators, and instead of just hitting a up or down button, you actually have to pick the floor
before you get on the elevator.
Before you get on the elevator, and then it now, of course, in the hotel area, you have to flash your key and then choose the floor, and then when it opens up, it shows you on the side the floor number it's going to, and then you get in and it takes you to your floor. It's a little odd.
Elf could screw everybody on that. You ever seen the movie Elf?
No, but okay.
Well, he gets on. You've never seen the movie Elf? It's like one of the most famous, funniest Christmas movies.
Yeah, I know.
He gets on. He's going to the Empire State Building, and he gets in the elevator, and somebody presses him. He goes, "Ooh, pretty!" And then he presses all the buttons.
Oh,
Empire State Building.
Right.
So the guy's got to ride.
There are no buttons on the inside. He can't do that anymore.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So anyway, and I was trying to think of the workflow. It's odd, but I think in a hotel it's actually more secure, or any place that needs to do the badge.
Maybe so.
But it's anyway. So, but anyway, that little side note. So
I'll tell you what. Let's skip the next two things and let's go to the stories, because we got plenty of stories and we're already at 7:42. So
all right.
we'll talk about those next week.
All right.
Okay. 2-week ceasefire with Iran. So as everybody knows, we've been at war, quote unquote, with Iran. We've been bombing the shit out of them is what we've been doing.
Yeah.
To say we've been at war is kind of, when I think of war, I think of two sides that are going to basically shoot at each other.
Right.
Well, Iran ain't done a lot of shooting at us. Now, they have other people.
Well, they've gotten,
but not us, not so much us. Yeah,
they yes, they indiscriminately start throwing these.
Right, I know that but I know we're technically at war, but it's not a traditional. It's not like World War II. Well, we had troops over there, and we're in the trenches.
Right,
and
we have an enemy that's equal or close to equal in our capability, and then you've got all these battles all over the different places.
Right.
No, this is an overwhelming force. The same thing that happened in Iran, or not Iran, but Iraq,
Kuwait,
and all of that. That was just an overwhelming force that we had, and it was done in very short amount of time, relatively speaking. Right. And yes, we're going to have some of our aircraft have been hit with some different things. And I think we even had, we've even had two KC-135s kind of collide a little bit. There's been some other. But you know what? Anytime you go to any actual military action like that, things are gonna happen.
Yeah, it's part of it. Well, they do it in training. I mean, people have problems in training all the time. It's you're doing dangerous shit with dangerous stuff.
There you go.
I mean, let's just be honest. But anyhow, so it's a 2-week ceasefire.
Yeah.
And so we're not, basically, the ceasefire means we're not bombing them.
Right.
And they're supposed to be opening up the Straits of Hormuz. That's kind of their lynch. That's the thing. They kind of control that. Now, the reason it appears like they went to this 2-week ceasefire is because the Trump administration said, okay, we basically bombed almost all the military targets we can bomb. Now we're going to start working on your infrastructure.
Right.
And Donald Trump, I saw him. Look, it doesn't matter what you think about him. Look, he's not my favorite person. I've said that 8 million times on this program, right? But he looked right in the camera and he said, we're going to have to go after infrastructure if this is what it takes. I don't want to do it. But we're going to do it. And obviously that got somebody off the pot over there, and they're like, oh, shit, okay. So they're opening up the straits. I think it's being slow. But the whole thing about this, a ceasefire doesn't mean a truce. Now you hear these people are coming out like, America's quit, America's back down. No, you're just out bombing the shit out of them right now. And also the Democrats are coming out in droves. I don't know what it is, like a bat signal that goes out to the Democrats, and they're coming out in droves going, it's all 25th Amendment, 25th Amendment. Donald Trump needs to be removed because of war crimes. He's a war criminal now. What has Donald Trump done that constitutes a war criminal? Look, I'm just being. What did Obama do that constituted a war criminal? Nothing. What did Joe Biden do that constituted a war crime? Nothing. I don't know of any American president that has done anything that's constituted a war crime in modern times. Maybe something way back in the 1800s or something. But the other side of that is, to me, you're kind of shitting on the military people. Because if the president is committing war crimes, okay, so can we all agree that Donald Trump's not out there bombing people himself?
Correct. He himself is not doing it. And so then he's the commander-in-chief. He doesn't actually turn screwdrivers or
he doesn't fly the
airplanes, drive the tanks. Of course, we don't have any tanks.
If Donald Trump had a button, you always hear about the button. If one person had a button and he could push it and fire a missile that nobody else was involved, that constitutes that. But what the people are what they're saying is that all these dumb military people,
the generals
all the way down to whatever, are so stupid that they're going to go over there and blindly follow orders,
illegal
orders.
Right.
I don't believe the American military would do that. Now, I'm not going to say it's never happened. I'm not going to say that in Vietnam and stuff that some people didn't go rogue.
Right.
But what I'm simply saying is, when I think of war crimes, I'm thinking Milosevic, where he had people go gas, hundreds of thousands of people.
Right.
Obviously Stalin, obviously Hitler. But that wasn't a one-time thing. That was an over and over thing. And I go back and like I'm saying, you can say what you want about Donald Trump, but quit shitting on the military.
Yeah.
Because I don't believe you've been in the military. I have not. Know a lot of people, but I don't believe that if the American president said, I want you to go target a bunch of civilians right now. We're going to blow up every school in Iran.
Right.
Do you think they would just automatically go do it?
No.
I don't either. I just can't imagine they'd do it. Now, are we going to go blow up their infrastructure? Maybe so.
And if there's unfortunately, I think the generals would think through, how can we, without giving away our tactical advantage, how could they warn and get people? If they have done this, they've said, look, we're going to come in here. You better get everybody out of there.
That's right. You don't. In other words, you don't go in the dead of the night and don't tell anybody. You're like going, please. Right. Get out of the way.
But sometimes you can't even do that, though. Sometimes you have to, because they've placed a strategic target in a place where it's high population of civilians. And so there's just sometimes you can't. But we have, in this case, actually announced ahead of time in some cases.
But
I don't know.
I think that our military, first off, I don't think Donald Trump wants to go kill innocent people. No. I mean, you're an idiot if you really believe that Donald Trump is such an evil person he wants to go kill innocent people. You're dumb. That's retarded.
Right.
Okay? But what I'm saying is, I don't think our military people would go in and just blindly go and intentionally harm a bunch of people. Now, you may have to, because we're done everything we can to mitigate casualties, but we have to obtain this objective.
Yeah, and
there's going to be some casualties.
Yeah.
But by the way, if you want to say that, so you're okay in supporting the administration of Iran that basically we killed a bunch of them off.
Oh, yeah.
That was killing their own people.
Well, yeah.
That was okay.
Yeah.
Idiots.
Right, but
but the ceasefire. Everybody, take a break. Take a breath. I've been saying that over and over. See if this happens. Quit screaming about forever wars. Look, if 6 months down the road we're still doing this, 2 years down the road, somebody's got some explaining to do.
Right. Oh yeah.
But they keep saying over and over, the Trump, Hegseth, the generals are saying over and over, we're wrapping this up.
Yeah.
So give them time.
All right. And next, related.
U.S. So this was just a fascinating story to hear about this. So Iran actually did. There's evidence they shot one of our planes down.
Yep.
Okay. Didn't kill anybody. They shot the plane down. The pilots ejected, and of course, there were two crewmen. Let's see. Yeah. So one was a pilot. One's a weapons officer.
Right.
They both ejected. Obviously, they don't eject and go up exactly the same to come down.
No.
I mean, that's not how that shit works. You're flying at whatever speed. You're blowing out, going in whatever direction you go. So one crew member, the pilot, was actually rescued very quickly.
Right.
The second crew member, the weapons officer, was not rescued, and he ended up like in some sort of like a mountainous range and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. So all of these people, if you are in a plane in the military, you have SEER.
Oh yeah, SEER training.
SEER training.
Escape.
Search. I don't know what it is. Escape and evade.
Right. Escape. Well, you try to.
It's search, escape, and evade, maybe?
I don't know. Whatever it is, I can look it up. But go ahead.
But the point is, you have training, basically to not get caught. So this pilot, or this weapons officer, I'm sorry, took care of his training. He followed his training. And, of course, the military they keep tabs on these guys. I mean, it's not like they stick you out there. You have communication devices, you have beacons and that sort of thing. So the military knew where he was basically.
Right.
But it's amazing to hear the whole story, how you had like parajumpers involved, you had SEAL team involved, you had the CIA was involved.
Yep.
The CIA actually put out a disinformation campaign.
Right.
To try to pull the Iranians off, because the Iranians knew the guy was too.
Right.
And it is just fascinating to show how our military,
all the efforts that we had go through to save
one person.
Yeah.
Oh, and did that cost a shitload of money? It absolutely did.
Yep.
But there's a moral victory in all that on both sides. It's demoralizing to the enemy, and it's a moral victory to your people.
Yep.
And also, so when you go up as a pilot or in an airplane in combat, you know you may get shot down.
Right.
But if you know damn well that the military or that the U.S. government is going to pull out all the stops, to try to help you and get you rescued, it probably gives you a level of confidence.
Sure, absolutely, absolutely, and it's survival, evasion, resistance, and escape. So, hopefully all we had to do in this case was the survival and the evasion, because then the resistance comes when you're caught.
Yeah,
and the escape is when you're caught.
You can't escape
right.
from something.
Yeah, that's a different phase, right? So your hope is initially, and that's their first priority, is to survive. They have water. Yeah, they have water. They have they may even have a weapon on them. They have flares.
They probably all have a sidearm.
Right. Oh yeah. When you're actually going into operations, then yes, they every crew member has a sidearm. Right. So yeah.
So anyhow, it's just amazing. It's a testament to the military. It's a testament to the mantra. And Lawrence O'Donnell, I don't know if you saw this. So Pete Hegseth and General Raising Cane were doing their joint press conference. And Pete Hegseth said, the mantra is, we leave no man behind. Yeah. Lawrence O'Donnell, the failed CNN talking head, gets up there and trashes Pete Hegseth because he didn't say no person, he said man. I'm assuming Pete Hegseth knew if that was a man or a woman that was in that plane that was down. Listen, Can we assume? I don't think. I think if it was a woman, Pete Hegseth would have probably said no woman left behind, or no person.
Well, but
whatever. But it's such a fucking bullshit. Like, we're gonna parse this. No two-spirit binary person left behind. Man. I mean, God damn.
Well, no human.
Yeah. But what about, instead of being happy that the United States instead of being happy and thankful that the United States as a country, we pulled together to make sure that our military people who were in combat, protecting our interests, were in combat and were put in harm's way, was rescued, and we're gonna try to figure out something negative to say about that?
Well, of course, they didn't like it from the beginning, so it doesn't really matter. It's just it's the what are the spoil of the fruit or something, I don't know, whatever it is. Anyways.
You're being intellectually dishonest because you don't agree with something, that everything else has to be bad in there.
Right.
Yeah, find something good.
There. So, all right. So that whole effort's awesome, and I'm glad that we're there. And we've got,
I'm glad we're at a ceasefire. I mean, I want this to end too. I don't want a forever war.
No.
But Iran had to be taken out. These people, and by the way, I blame everybody from Reagan. Every president from Reagan, they had an opportunity to do this. Iran didn't show up on the block and be pain in the ass for just now.
No.
This has been going on for a long time, since 1979, 1978. Yeah. I guess when they took hostages.
Well, now we did do, I don't know if you've heard about this, related to Iran. I don't remember the exact date time frames, but I believe it was in the either early 2000s or late 90s. But there was an operation by the CIA that it was called Stuxnet, was the name of a virus that they were able to get into. Now, keep in mind, these refineries are run by a computer, right. and guess what? All of the controllers and things that run the motors that do this. What you're doing is there's these centrifuges,
right.
and they spin at a certain rate, and that somehow that I don't know all the physics behind it, but basically they have to spin at a certain rate, and these components are designed by American companies, and I believe it was ABB. You remember that company? They used to have a facility here, but they make controllers. And those controllers are controlled by computer. And so they had a whole bunch of computers that were running these, and none of them were on the internet at the time. So the CIA planned an entire campaign, an operation to get USB thumb drives with infected software on it and somehow get that into the facilities that in Iran for this. And it did put them back. I don't know how far behind, but the fact that they were successfully able to do that put their nuclear program way behind back in that time.
Could have.
So there have been other operations, but it hasn't been we have not gone and bombed them, obviously.
Yeah.
So,
anyhow.
So.
All right. A couple switching gears here. Social media verdicts. There's been a couple of social media verdicts where companies have been hit with fines and that sort of thing for basically preying on kids.
Okay.
Social media companies. So a California jury found Meta and YouTube liable in a case involving social media addiction. A 20-year-old plaintiff said the use of her platforms as a child worsened her mental health, and the jury awarded her $6 million in damages. Now, I don't know that I agree. I think that these algorithms, they have things that try to hook you. Whether you deserve $6 million, I don't necessarily agree with that.
Right.
But she did sue, and she did win.
Right.
A separate jury in New Mexico found Meta violated consumer protection laws. Now, this is where I can see this one, for failing to protect young users from child predators, and a jury ordered Meta to pay $375 million in damages. I don't know who those damages go to.
Right. Yeah. Well. Yeah. If you knew about child sexual exploitation, I can't say that.
Yeah.
This early in the morning. Then they need to, there's certainly some inherent responsibilities you take on by having a platform like that, and you need to do things. But as far as there's similar stuff going on the AI side. There's these AI, that's been talking through apparently the conversations they've had with people who have some mental issues, and they end up convincing them to kill themselves and do other things.
So anyhow, State Representative Jared Patterson out of Frisco says he plans to refile legislation that would ban minors from social media. So I don't know how far this is going to go, but it probably will. It might result in some sort of maybe not an all-out ban, but some sort of some sort of guidelines or guardrails or something, and I think there needs to be.
Right. Yeah.
And basically what they're saying is this is similar to the tobacco litigation.
Yeah.
Well, what was the determining factor that it was inherently addictive? That's what they were saying. It was inherently addictive, and I do believe that this social media if the social media companies just throw it out there and just let it go, then you can't necessarily say that. Right. But when they have algorithms that are pushing content to people and that sort of thing, now you're actively doing something.
Well,
to try to get more content out there. So I think that you do have some responsibility.
Is this then on the order of because obviously we didn't have the automation for this, but TV, they banned the subliminal advertising.
Right, exactly. That's what I'm saying. There's some things out there in the past that have been banned or put guardrails on. Like, okay, you can't show Dallas at the TV show Dallas. It was salacious or something salacious. You can't show it at 6:00 in the evening. It has to be later on.
Well, that used to be right. I don't know how
it is. I mean, you can't show you can't. Their content is regulated to some degree.
Yeah, I think they've relaxed a lot of that because look at right now. So much of the TV is not that we see now is not even regulated.
But I'm talking about broadcast.
I know.
But broadcast is still regulated.
Yeah, it is. But I guess what I'm saying is even then I don't think it's as the same standard that it was back.
You cannot show something like that at
Dallas. Really?
Yeah, I don't think you can show it at 6:00 in the evening.
Well, I get your idea though, but this is so we want to regulate in a similar way.
Looked into. I think there needs to be some regulations.
But to ban it completely, though,
I didn't say that.
No, I know.
Yeah, I'm not saying that I agree with this guy, and I don't know that that's right. I haven't read the legislation, so we don't want to jump to conclusions.
Yeah.
That was a quote that they had from him.
Right.
But my point is, I still think that you could put guardrails on something.
Oh, sure, and I think there already is. That's the whole thing, right? No,
I don't know.
No, right now, you've noticed if you've noticed signing up.
We need to move on.
Yeah, we need to wrap. But just real quick, we'll wrap this up. But if you've noticed, if you sign in, if you got a new iPhone recently, or you got a new during the setup of that iPhone, they're asking you, are you an adult? Are you this? Are you that? And depending on the age, it gives different restrictions. Of course, can a kid just get around that? Absolutely.
Oh yeah. Let me see. I'll hit this button right there.
But the thing is, though, there are some efforts. But what's happening is what's going on in California is getting because what goes in California, as we know, oftentimes it follows the rest of the states. But a lot of them do it because why do it? Why do the companies just do it? They're only going to do it for the same for everybody. That meets all the laws.
I'm interested to see how this legislation goes and all that. Come on in. While we're talking, there's last thing I want to talk about.
Adjust your chair because you're already tall.
Yeah, you're already tall. Yeah, so.
That's good.
Yeah, see?
Like,
wait.
Let's do that. The whole thing.
Let's see how.
So before we get.
Not that one. We got that one.
There we go. There we go. Okay, but we do need to remember the date. This is the 10th.
The 10th. April 10th, yes.
And, of course, there was something very historic that happened in Wichita Falls on April 10th. 1979.
Yes, I was 14.
The April 10th tornado.
Or would have been 14.
Terrible Tuesday is what it's called.
I was 4 years from being born.
Yeah, oh, okay.
I was here. So
wait a minute. You were born in
83.
I graduated high school in 83. Okay.
So I was here. I wasn't in the tornado. I lived at the north. I lived over by the base.
Right.
We could see across town. This is something that every year since Mike and I have done radio, we talked about this every year because it was such an impactful thing. Mike and I are the same age, and it's one of those deals that when I guess we were 8 years old. When you're 8 years old and something like this happens in your town, even though it's not to you. It's very mindful and the devastation it caused. But just a few little stats about it. It took an 8-mile course through the city of Wichita Falls in densely populated area, destroying over 2,000 homes in several neighborhoods. At one time, it was 1.5 miles wide. So basically, this was 3 tornadoes that converged into one massive tornado, and it killed at least 45 people. The reason I say at least because you don't really know. Well, some people just were missing, and they don't know what happened to them. And nearly 1,800 people were injured, ranking this tornado among the deadliest in Texas history. And the majority of the fatalities of the tornado were mangled and tossed vehicles. And the damage by that tornado was unprecedented at the time, with $400 million, which would equate to $1.8 billion dollars today in damages.
Yeah.
My dad was an elevator mechanic, but at the time, General Hospital had 5 elevators. My dad had 4 on service. There was one that they didn't use. The main ones were on my dad on service. My dad left the house and told my mom and I don't know when I'll be back. I got to go watch elevators because the hospitals were being so overrun. And that's what I think he was 36 hours. I think my dad went up there for 36 hours. I don't know if he took a nap on the floor in the maintenance room or what he did, but he stayed up for 36 hours to make sure that all the elevators
If
were
anything went
constantly-
wrong,
he was there immediately to keep them going and make sure that there were no problems. And there's a lot of things like that. He wasn't a hero. I'm not saying he was taking care of people and stuff, but there was a lot of people. You had your first responders and your police and your doctors and all those people that were right in the thick of things, but you had your maintenance workers, your janitors, your cleanup people, your cafeteria people that worked at these hospitals. You had the elevator guy that didn't work at the hospital, but he had it on contract. You had all these other people that were ancillary that helped this happen.
Sure.
Because you think about it, all the food, I'm sure they had to call a lot of the food service people in. Hey, we got to have you here. We got all these people here. We got massive cabins.
And some of them probably had their homes damaged or they lost someone or whatever.
Yeah. It was just an unbelievable time, and it's still talked about today. 47 years? Is it 47, 46 years? 47. Yeah, 47. You're going to do my quick math there. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm your history major, providing you the math.
Yeah. Well, I'm a criminal justice, so I'm below you. Criminal justice and psychology, you're kind of below everybody as far as the math department. But anyhow, 47 years, and it goes to show you what a lasting impact that had.
No, absolutely. And one of the types of people that were involved in that too are ham radio operators. They played a huge role because they're all volunteer.
Yeah.
But they play this for fun. They do emergency
the
services.
reason they could do that because the phone lines were down.
Right, the phone lines.
I remember going and picking up the telephone and there was dead.
And today, actually, the same. It wouldn't be as bad, but it's unless the cell phone towers were hit directly, the likelihood is they'll stay up.
Yeah.
Although we've got fiber, we got other things in the ground or whatever, it still could go. But now, if power's out for long enough, then we lose out on the battery side of it. But ham radio operators still practice this stuff today. So anyway, that's awesome.
And now we've got the ability to bring in satellite towers, essentially provide satellite cell service, which is an advanced
Starlink, and that sort of thing.
And right on that, you're directly involved in as far as knowing all about the emergency services. So
yes, and
preparation.
One of my first lunches I had after becoming a judge. I've known Judge Backus for a long time, but he was a fairly new county judge when that happened, and just hearing him recount what that was like, I can't imagine having the immensity of that situation hitting you, and you're the disaster emergency person.
That had to be a lot.
Yeah, and again, it was 47 years ago. The system and the way that the state mainly, the feds would come in too, but the state and locals cooperate now on dealing with something like that is so much better.
Oh, yeah.
Well, they've learned from that specific
not only
thing.
learned, but the communication is just better.
Right.
I mean, the fact of the matter is, there was a time when the fastest way to communicate was a carrier pigeon.
Oh, yeah.
We don't do that anymore.
Yeah. No.
So it's one of those deals, communications are better.
Right.
And people have learned, and people are just more in tune with it.
Right.
So,
well, and real quick on another note on Terrible Tuesday, there was a movie made, or I guess it's a movie or a documentary about it, and we were actually required to watch that every year up in Wichita, Kansas at McConnell Air Force Base. That was part of our training at the 101 critical days of summer at the beginning, right after Memorial Day.
Okay.
That was our training that we had to have every year, and it was all about Wichita Falls.
In Wichita, Kansas, you're only one word away from getting from Wichita Falls. She could hit the fan there, too.
Yeah, when we had, actually on April 19th, 1990, gosh, I don't remember now, 1991, we had a big tornado up there that they compared to this one. It was big, yeah. So
our guest this morning, everybody knows anyhow, Wichita County Judge Jim Johnson, and outgoing.
Yes.
Not anytime real soon.
No, through the end of the year.
Yeah, through the end of the year. And but you are not running. You will not be the county judge in 2027 in Wichita County.
That is correct.
You're going to move on to the next pasture.
Yeah, that's right.
Absolutely. Cool. So tell us a little about, of course, now there's a runoff election. We've had Rick Hatcher, and then Mark Dora is going to be on with us next week. So there's a runoff election. So there was there was several people in the field to run for that position. It's a very important position. So we know that somebody new will come in. The rest of the commissioners, that was all stable. So there's not going to be a change in the commissioners' court, right? Other than the county judge.
Yeah, this was actually an abnormal election from Wichita County standpoint because we did have a number of county races that were contested, at least on the Republican side. I don't think there was a single race that a Democrat filed for. But county judge obviously being the most high-profile, top of the ticket, if you will, on that. But Commissioner Watts won re-election. Commissioner Fincannon did not have an opponent, and they were the only two up on the ballot this time. All of the incumbents won for county, so you'll see stability there. And then, of course, Mr. Hatcher and Mr. Dora both met. They were the two highest vote getters. And so got a runoff coming off. The election day is the day after Memorial Day. Can't imagine a better recipe for low turnout than late May election.
So get your early voting in, right?
Yeah, exactly. Vote early and often. But.
There you go, yeah.
So anyhow, tell us a little about, we've had you on before, and obviously what you do as a county judge, but what's different now knowing that you're not going to be here? I know obviously you're going to fulfill, you're a person of, not only a person of honor, you're going to fulfill your duties because you've got a sworn oath, and you're
not road,
as
we called it.
Yeah, he's not sitting around drinking coffee and walking around the office with his feet on the desk. But knowing that there is going to be a change, and I know that the type of person you are with the integrity you have, you want to make darn sure that everything goes as seamless as possible.
Yeah, and
so what are you kind of doing differently than what you would have done last year at this time?
Well, I appreciate the compliment. I really do.
And then, by the way, it's not bullshit. I don't do bullshit compliments. Anytime I give somebody a compliment, I truly mean it. Otherwise, I don't compliment them. So
thank you. My biggest thing is I am trying to, as we essentially go through a last year of whatever it might be, whether they're contract renewals, budget, all of everything that we're hitting, I'm trying to be cognizant. The team in my office is trying to be cognizant of, okay, let's take note of this and let's either write it down or have something separate that goes, okay, this is how this works. This is the thought process on this, so that I can hand that off to whoever wins that runoff election, so that they have some tools at hand,
some guidelines.
Yes, because
continuity again. But
yes,
what you're talking about.
So much of this job you don't know until you get in the middle of it, and then again, we've got a lot of stability at Wichita County. Other elected officials and other offices got a really good team in place who have been through this a couple of times now. Heck, a lot of them have more experience on it than I do. So just making sure that everybody is of the mindset of, okay, let's be thinking through, there will be a new person in this chair next year at this time. So let's give them the tools. The biggest thing on this front is whoever wins, I'm going to invite them, be a part of our budget process and budget discussions.
That's a great idea.
It's the most, outside of a disaster happening and having to respond to that, it is the biggest part of my job, and it's the most important. And so they're open to the public, but we have our departmental budget meetings every year, end up over 40 of them every year. I hope that whoever wins can join us, be at the table for those meetings, so that they're part of that discussion, but also so that they just see the back and forth. They understand what that office does. They understand the mindset that goes into the decisions being made for the budget that they're going to inherit.
What's their term? What's their term?
It's a 4-year term.
4-year term. Okay,
Yep.
so
similar to what you're talking about. When I was on the school board, we had a little turnover. We had somebody who didn't run for election, and got a new board member. But we were getting a new superintendent right after the election, and called the new board member first and said, "Hey, are you okay with doing this?" And then what we actually did is we invited that former board member, because he'd been on the board for 18 years or 15 years or whatever, invited them to come on and not make the decision because they're no longer a board member, can't, but sit in on the interviews and have some input, because they had that institutional knowledge of the district, where that new board member, while highly competent and turned out to be a great board member, didn't have the institutional knowledge because he just got there.
Yep.
I mean, you literally the first few days or first few months, you're trying to figure out where the bathroom is.
Yeah.
So I think this is a great plan to see, hey, please get part of this process. You're not going to make the decision on the budget.
Yeah.
They aren't. But if they know what's going on, they understand the process, because it's a government position is different than the private sector.
Yep.
And things are different because they, by law, have to be.
That's right. And another side benefit of this is it allows you so much of what the county judge does is
That's my girlfriend, potential spam.
calls a lot.
Oh my goodness! Yeah, I hope my wife never looks at my thing. She'll think I'm having an affair with potential spam.
And we've talked about this before, but most of the power in the county judge position is not formal levers of you say this and it's going to happen. It's relationships, and it's trying to persuade people. And so the earlier that whoever wins can come in and watch what is it that is driving different people, different elected officials, different department heads, what are their focuses for their job? Heck, what is their job? The earlier you can see that and get an idea for it, it just will help make that transition go more quickly and more smoothly. And I think that's most important. For him to be able to see what the commissioner's focuses are, especially when it comes to the budget. I just think it's invaluable to get that ahead of time, and it will help make that transition go more smoothly.
I agree.
All right.
So what are your kind of the things you're working on? I mean, I know you have your regular job, but do you have any, I don't say agenda items, but things that are on your kind of my list? I need to get this done before I leave.
Well, it's funny. Before I made the announcement that I wasn't going to run again, I went back and looked at, okay, what are the things that I campaigned on? What have we accomplished? What have we not gotten done yet? And I'd gotten everything done that I wanted to do, with the exception of communicating better to our constituents. And so, actually, in my office, Greg Hawkins is his name, but he's been my assistant for the last year and a half. But it's sort of transitioning that role, because I kind of take care of myself for the most part, transitioning that role to more of a communications role. And so he has been taking a look at, the county finally has a social media presence. It's 2026, and Wichita County has a social media presence. But taking a look at how do
they're on MySpace now. So
yeah, that's right. That's right. I have an AOL.com address.
Every time they dial in.
Yeah, but
right.
He's looking at our website, figuring out ways that we can do a better job there and communicate things more clearly, more directly. Again, got social media presence, trying to keep me accountable to telling the county's story, whether it's through press releases, whether it's through interviews, just trying to do a better job of being proactive about communicating. It's hard enough to communicate nowadays because there's not one place that people go to for information. The algorithm is driving people away a lot of times, and most people don't know and don't really care that much about local government.
Not as much as they should.
Yeah, and so that was the big thing, is I had campaigned on wanting to do it, and we're actually making a concerted effort. So that's the last box that if we can do a better job of that and fill at the end of the year, that, okay, set up the next county judge and Wichita County in general with the toolbox to use to communicate well, I'll consider that a job well done.
Good. So now, generally, when this happened, was there, like when you became county judge, when you took over for Woody, was it all new staff members, or are there people in the office that are still there, so there's some continuity of the administrative side of it?
It was complete continuity. The longtime person who had worked on the budget with Judge Gossam, he retired at the same time, and so that was a big non-continuity thing. But that, I knew that would be my favorite part of the job. It has been. I was glad to just have to jump into it and swim without the life. Jacket.
And you get new eyes on it. I mean, there's always the benefit of that.
Yeah.
So.
And y'all know this. Anything that you do is always going to be a team effort. Always. Right. You try to do this. You try to do just about anything, whether it's running a business, trying to do any sort of governmental program, run a church, whatever it might be. You try to do that on your own. You're going to get burnt out, and you're probably not going to do nearly as good of a job. Right. And you're not setting up a bench of other people to step in. None of us are replaceable, or none of us are irreplaceable. And so,
well, and by the way, what's going to happen if you are in a car accident tomorrow, and incapacitated or dead or something like that? It's one of those deals. Yeah, it has to go on. I mean, they can't stop the whole place for it. So you have to have some people in place that do that.
Yeah,
so.
And anytime anybody comes in new, they've got their own management style. So the next person may want the stability like I did of, I want to see what these people can do and what they bring to the table and make my own decisions. But I'm going to do that after observation.
Well, yeah.
There's some folks who come in and they want to bring in their team. I don't know who's going to win, and I don't know what their management style is. Institutional knowledge for county government is important.
Very.
Because there's a lot of, and Judge Gossam was very nice, and he was always available to answer my call. If I had to, Judge, this thing happened 20 years ago, and nobody here knows what. Can you give me the story? And he was always happy.
Absolutely, Judge Gossam was there for.
Yes,
he was there for long enough. He knew all the He knew all the stuff.
And so I'll be available for the next judge also. Of course, they have questions or don't really know what maybe want a little bit more of the story. I'll be happy to give it.
Well, and also the other thing we have going for us is, once again, no matter who wins between the two, they're not like unknown people.
Right.
They're not guys that just showed up in Wichita County 6 months ago and going to run for county judge. Both of these guys have been around a long time. They know everybody on the commissioner's court knows them. I mean, whether they know them personally or know of them, they all know of each other.
Yeah.
And so the chances of them coming in, either one of them coming in and having a successful administration or time at the seat there is pretty high, because it's not like I said, it's not the newbie showing up and saying, hey, I want to come in here and take over the world.
Yeah, and they will, again, the voters will elect the person that they want to be in that position, and they'll bring their own sets of strengths to the job. You sort of touched on it in the intro to this whole segment, but I look at it as my job is to try to leave as clear a playing field as possible so that you hand off the baton and they can have the widest range of decisions that they can make, and they're not forced into because of stuff that I didn't do or problems that I created for them. They're not locked into one path. And so that's largely what I'm going to be spending the next 8 months trying to avoid and leave them in a good position to hand off that baton and to do it well.
How strange is it to say that is you have a job that, I mean, most people don't have jobs that they know when it's going to end.
Yeah.
Yeah, you get a job and you're going to have the job and you kind of think, I'm going to have this job forever until something better comes along or whatever. But I don't think anybody goes into it, or there are people that do, but most people don't go into a job and say, okay, I know that my job is going to be over at X amount of time. You might think it, but you don't know it. You know for a fact, you legally cannot do this job. Yep. So come January or December 31st of 2026, you're unemployed.
Yeah.
For whatever time, but it could be for 30 seconds.
Yeah.
But you don't have a job.
Well, and it's in my runway, because I made my announcement back in September of last year, so that there would be plenty of time, because I knew it would come out of nowhere.
And I think that's great. I do applaud you. By the way, I'm sorry. I applaud you for doing that, because what you did is you didn't spring it on everybody. You gave everybody plenty of time to go, okay, maybe I want to do this or not. So I think that was great.
But it is 15 months is a long runway to know, okay, there's a set end time, and you are running a really long last lap of the race. And we're human beings. It can be a challenge to keep up the passion and the work ethic and everything when you know that end is in sight. But it's a little surreal. Thankfully, the job of county judge has enough day-to-day stuff that just comes at you out of nowhere that even if I was running for re-election, had already knew I was going to be here, it's still, you don't know from day to day what you're going to be doing. And so there's enough of that it keeps you on your toes. But it's a strange environment, and since I know what I'm going to be doing next, it's also trying to prepare essentially for the next job at the same time, while finishing up the one you're in it's a challenge.
Well, I did the same thing, actually. I retired, put in for retirement 11 months out from the Air Force. So exactly the same thing.
I guess you kind of had it.
Yeah, it was literally that same.
When you joined the Air Force, you didn't know exactly when you were.
No, certainly. But when I went, but on the inside, right on the end of it, it's like 11 months. I didn't do it at 12. I did it at 11. I don't know why I took a whole month to decide, but anyway. But then I knew I was gonna. My plan was to retire and do my business. And so same things, getting prepared, But
you already had your business going too.
Well, right, part time, right, and so it's a transition to full time.
It was more right, but you already had that.
Right, but it wasn't making the money I needed.
I understand that. But you did have
right. It was a long term plan on that side of it. But what I did do is the same thing. I couldn't just sit around.
Yeah.
I literally could not. I actually created more work for myself. Yep. I actually found a project and I said, wait a minute, this isn't the way it should be. I had to rewrite a course and I broke it up and I could have stayed. It was almost done because the previous guy was, anyway, long story, but I did not do that. I said, what's best for the Air Force? And I still did it.
Yeah.
When you're taking a check, especially a government check, you need to have that obligation in your mind.
Yeah.
If you're taking a check from a private company and they're okay with you screwing off, that's their money. But when you're screwing off at the taxpayer's expense, that's a problem.
Right. Well, I mean, it's called public service for a reason.
Yeah.
Well, I could still get court-martialed when I, but still, no. You're right though. But see, they don't. But in the government job, it's so much easier to just relax and not worry about it because you don't. How many F's do you you don't care. Right?
Well, and it's for commissioner's court because there's 5 of us making policy decisions for the county. It's a little different, but. There is this weird interplay and dynamic, though, too, that I'm thinking I don't know that I necessarily want to make huge changes that are going to, have a 4, 8, 12-year time frame and then hand that off to the next guy who might not have made those same decisions, and now he's got to do it.
Right, but what decisions, though, can you make just on your own, though? You still have to, right? I mean,
and that's what I was saying is that the commissioner's court as a whole has to vote on it and make those decisions.
So it's the commissioner's court that is deciding those things. So if it needs to be but you don't want to delay a decision also that's important, right? Like that. So I can understand that.
And this is where I've always put in a ton of work and a ton of effort, a ton of time on every budget that I've done because it's my job to create the first draft. The commissioner's court adopts the whole thing.
Right.
This first draft, more than just about any other, I want to, none of us have a crystal ball. I can't know what's going to happen. And we're, in some cases, projecting for things that are 16, 18 months out. Mm-hmm. But want to make sure that I have tried to leave that the next judge who's going to inherit that budget for a full year that he didn't get to decide, he didn't get to vote on, he didn't get to draft, to make sure that it is one that sets everybody up.
When's your draft due?
So it's got to be about August 15th.
Okay, so the election will be done. So if that new person,
and that's
then they could be involved,
involved in the process.
Right.
We should know the day after Memorial Day. I think it's May 28th. We should know who the next judge is. Our departmental budget meetings will start that next week, first week of June.
Yeah, but what about all the backroom meetings that happen?
With the cigars and
no, I know, I'm joking. And that's you hear that all the time. They did all that in the back room. No, they didn't.
That's why we post every one of those meetings.
Yes.
We have them publicly.
I know.
And there are specific things for the closed meeting or Open Meetings Act allows for only certain things by law.
We hardly use it because it's very specific and nothing related to the budget is able to be moved.
Oh closed session is it's very, you're right. It's very specific. There's only a few personnel, land acquisition.
Yep.
Any
attorney,
legal stuff.
And a lot of people, we're on that real quick, but they don't realize that you can actually make it to the disadvantage of the government entity, whether it's the county or the city or whoever, in negotiations, if you don't make it private, you can actually land deal. Right.
Yeah.
You make it. You could cause the price to go up, and you don't want to have that happen.
But the one thing about it is what people need to understand is even though the discussion and debate may happen in closed session because it has to.
The vote.
The action is always taken in open session.
That's correct.
Yeah, the action is never taken in closed session.
Exactly.
So I know when I was on the board, I heard this about, people made backroom deals. Do you really? And my question I would always say to people is, would you be willing to go to prison for that?
Yeah.
For this job? Is there a job that you have that you're willing to go to prison for? Because what you're saying is those people could go to prison.
Yep.
For doing what you're saying they're doing.
Yeah.
And would you do it? And if not, why do you think they're stupid enough?
And the entire board is in on it. If right?
Yeah.
So
it is. Yeah. We find ourselves trying to, and it does make it. It's one of those things that local government, especially, is designed by the laws that we have. It is designed to be inefficient.
Right.
Because we joke about this probably once a month as commissioners, where we're having to have this discussion over something that no one in the public really cares about. It's something that could have happened with a couple of conversations, but because of Open Meetings Act, because of the fact that you can't have two sets of people talking about things, and we have to have this discussion in court, and so we'll bring it up and sort of laugh about it. That I know no one else really cares about this, but this is how we have to talk about it. And this came up like the recent tax abatement deal on the solar farm. As the county judge, I largely lead the negotiations behind the scenes. Got a pretty good idea of what our commissioners, just from knowing them, are going to want. This one had, I think, 5 different public meetings, public hearings on it. But try to put together something that's going to be advantageous for the taxpayers. I know that the commissioners are going to like, and then bring that forward, and then we discuss that, not in a closed session, in an open one, where anybody can see the abatement agreement, the terms of it if they want to. It's not efficient, but it is transparent, and that's a good trade-off when you're talking about
it's democracy,
the people's money and people's decisions. Yeah,
democracy is not as efficient as dictatorship.
Right.
Dictatorship is probably the most efficient way of government.
Yeah.
But who the hell, unless you're the one on top or right below them, you don't want to be involved in that. So,
all right.
So now I kind of understand what your kind of goals are, but in general, kind of just let everybody know kind of what you think is going on in Wichita County, what we ought to look forward to in the next, 6 to 18 months.
Yeah.
Overall in the county.
Well, I think I'd be burying the lead if I didn't talk about. I truly believe that if the data center, we've got the one that is announced with Skybox. There may be others in the works that I'm not privy to those discussions, but this has the chance to be the new oil boom for the 21st century for Wichita County and, quite frankly, for a lot of rural West Texas. The amount of money being invested, the amount of jobs being created, the associated tax revenue from that, the fact that those could be their own economic engines that spur other industries to come in and other people to come in. During my lifetime, we've never seen anything that looked remotely this promising for growth for our area, both economic and in terms of population. So that, to me, is the biggest thing. The county is not directly going to affect that one way or the other from the standpoint of they didn't come to us for an abatement, so we didn't make a decision on that. It is going to impact our budget, obviously, because, again, until you've looked at the numbers of what the level of tax value this would add.
From $7 billion right now, is that just the city?
That's just the city.
Okay, what's the?
Ours is largely going to be the same, but we're talking
3 times, 4 times.
Yeah, for the city it is. For us, it could be up to 2 times.
Wow, yeah, still.
Which and you think of what does that mean? Well, that means drastically lower tax rates for our current taxpayers. That means revenue that can come in to take care of roads, to take care of long-term projects, to put us in a place where you've got those permanent improvements that you can look at. All doing it while slashing people's taxes. I mean, it's truly phenomenal, which then the knock-on effects of that are business who's looking at some place to go, they're looking at tax rates across the state now going, Wichita County's an outlier in a very good way.
Right.
But the challenge of that is, housing during construction especially is going to be very hard to find. What's that going to do to traffic in those areas that are affected by it? The competition for workers, especially at the low to mid tier of workers, is going to be a challenge. We're probably going to see that with jailers and some of our other positions that we're just not going to be able to compete with the private sector on what. So
right, because a lot of those guys are probably capable of doing, and they get paid well now. But then when the construction job market goes up in terms of that, a lot of those guys will
something else. Yeah. And so we're going to be competing in that same pool of people, which is going to create its own set of challenges. And if it does materialize, which it appears to do, but I always want to count. I don't want to count any chickens before they hatch. How the county budgets for when you've got such a drastic increase in the tax values is going to be something that we need to make sure we/they get right, because you don't want the average homeowner doing the roller coaster of having their rate halved one year, and then something happens and it gets doubled the next year.
Right. Well, and that's one of my concerns is that there was some piece of information that I learned about. And of course, I'm not going to pin my opinion on other person's opinion, but apparently somebody who was going to move here was in contract for a house, and they were going to be working. They were a construction worker this company, the Skybox, was actually bringing them here, or maybe it was not Skybox, but they were coming here for this, and they were diverted, and they've been working on a lot of different data centers in different parts of the country for years, and what's happened is apparently that's about a 10-year cycle, and then they abandon a lot of times because of technology and things. So my concern, I've been thinking about these even before I heard that. How do we know what's going to happen shouldn't we plan for a 10-year? I think it's going to be here 10 years, no doubt.
Yeah. Now,
beyond that, that's my big concern is that at that time, if that goes away, the tax value goes away, then we're back to raising, so how do we lower it enough that it's meaningful, but also take advantage? I'm going to call it a windfall for 10 years or 7 years, whatever it's going to be. So what are those
I think
concerns?
The biggest thing again, this is looking at local government officials, so budget setting for us. I would think that the biggest pitfall to avoid is don't build it into your base budget as operational expenses.
You don't use the money for operational expenses. Use the money for special projects.
Yep.
One-time things. It's kind of like the courthouse annex down there.
Mm-hmm.
It's not going to cost the taxpayer. I mean, that was that windfall of COVID money or whatever it was, and thanks John to Walla Walla, Washington, for helping us pay for our deal here. Yep. So, but it's one of those deals. You're right. It's not an operational thing. We're going to do this one time. We're going to spend this money, and now it's not going to cost us any more than it probably is going to cost us less for upkeep than the old building did.
And so that's where if you see that windfall materialize, you put the bulk of it aside for those types of projects. Obviously, you provide tax rate reductions and substantial ones to taxpayers.
Right.
And again, that's just important because I think it's the right thing to do.
Absolutely.
But I think it's also strategically important because that does make you more competitive with bringing in other jobs and other industries. And so you got to, there's going to be, again, if it materializes, there's going to be this 2 tracks of making sure that you're smart with the windfall that you have now and not creating problems for yourself in the future, but then also thinking in terms of the long run of, okay, what are the investments we can make that will build in and attract other economic opportunities so that if the windfall does go away, it doesn't cause you to crash.
Right.
I'll tell you a perfect example of this on a major scale is the United Arab Emirates. They realized years ago our oil supply is going to run out. Mm-hmm. And I think it was 20 years. I saw a little documentary thing about it. And so their kingdom, their king or their whatever, the prince and the king and stuff, they got together and said, okay, we got to figure out another way to make money other than this black gold that's in the ground, because the black gold in the ground is not going to last forever. And so they got into the tourism business. And they built that massive island and stuff like that. And they have all these tourism. And They have people that are flocking. I don't know how many Americans go over there for vacation, but there's people from all over the world, Europe and stuff like that flock to UAE and Dubai and all that sort of stuff for vacation, because they've actually built a whole nother industry based on, we had this windfall of this oil. We know that's going to go away at some point, so we need to build another industry, and that's what they've done.
Well,
and I know that county commissioners, they know this, they appreciate this, they're getting ready for it. I know from talking to the mayor, he and I try to have breakfast once a month, just to sort of make sure that got that good relationship in place, and also to kind of know what's going on at the city. He can know what's going on at the county. I know that our city leadership too is also very aware of the opportunities, but also being realistic about the challenges, and so I think we're in as good a spot as we can be. Our eyes are open on trying to make sure that the windfall. Hopefully it's a long run thing.
But at this stage, since it's so new and the technology changes so fast and all of that, that's my main concern. I'm not so worried about the water and all of that. I think that's a concern, but I think that's hopefully, if we believe, some of the other things, then the water won't be an issue. But I'm glad, and use this opportunity to invest in the city even more, aside from the lower taxes, just making it a great place to
or the county.
The county and the city.
That's what it is. If your eyes wide open on this, then you're going to do the right thing.
Yeah, and no one's got a crystal ball, so people are going to try to get as much information, do their homework, and then make decisions.
Terry's just hoping that here's a massive place that he can open a MacTech Solutions mega store in 10 years.
Yeah.
So, all right, as we're wrapping up here, now you mentioned it earlier, and I don't want to put you on the spot at all. You mentioned you know what you're going to do next.
Yeah.
Have you announced that yet?
I have, yeah.
Okay, I knew about it.
Yeah.
But I obviously was never going to drop the dime on you.
Yeah.
So if you would, please let our listeners know what you're going to do next.
Yeah, so I'm actually going to go back to work for Representative Frank. It's going to be his chief of staff again. Didn't have that planned when I decided to announce. I think I've been on the show with y'all and explained sort of what my rationale was for, the Lord calls you to something, and then sometimes he calls you not to something. And but it was just fortuitous that his current chief was going to be leaving work at the Capitol before next session. I've always loved working. I always did enjoy working with James. Is that potential spam again?
No, that's Indeed. I'm trying to hire somebody.
I always loved working with him. I loved the legislature. I didn't leave that because I didn't like it. I left it because I felt called to do this and run. And so I'm going to go back to work for him. And so I'm very excited. Honestly, so much of what the state legislature does is implemented at the county level.
That's what I was going to say. You're going to still be serving Wichita County.
Right. And so having a much better personal appreciation for what the laws changed and how that might impact on the ground.
Unfunded mandates.
I'm hopeful that will be helpful to Representative Frank and will be helpful
if you're in local government, everybody in local government knows what the hell unfunded mandates mean.
They do. I think that word sometimes gets thrown around as an easy out for some things.
I think you're right. I do believe it gets overused, but it is there is some truth.
It's a thing.
You know it does. It's like everything else. There's a kernel of truth in everything.
Yeah.
The reason it's out there.
Yep. And so I'm hopeful that experience will help me do that job better.
Which, by the way, you did a great job last time.
Thank you.
I'm
excited. I'm excited at what Representative Frank wants to do the next session. He does have an opponent in the general election in November, but I'm excited about that. And having been an executive for now 3.5, it'll be 4 years at the end of that. It is different when your name's on the front of the door, and I am hopeful that will allow me to serve him and serve the constituents of the district better.
But by the way, next year is a session year.
Yes, it is.
So you're going to end, and they gavel in what, January
13th?
13th. Yeah, they gavel in at the session there. Wowzer. The good news is you've been there before. Well, you know where the bathroom is.
Yes. Well, and to Terry's point earlier, I just made more work for myself by because I've got my full-time job now and the prep work that I'll be doing on my own time to get ready for the next one. But I love it. And so
that's what it's
about.
about.
Not work if you love it.
So, and I have to remind everybody, I still believe, and I don't remember if you said somebody's told you this before, but John Malkovich, your voice is just like John Malkovich. I'm sorry. Every time I talk to you, it's like John Malkovich.
After you said that and I hear myself on a recording, I definitely hear it.
In some John Malkovich stuff. I mean, like John Malkovich when he played in Deepwater Horizon, and he was a Louisiana guy. You don't sound like that.
No.
Have y'all heard that? Deepwater Horizon's a good movie. It's about the oil rig that blew up in the Gulf of Louisiana.
Right, yeah.
And John Malkovich is an oil. I don't know if he'd be considered a company man, I think, in the oil business or whatever. But but he's a Louisiana company man, and he's got that very strong accent. So.
Yeah, well,
not much Cajun accent here.
No,
but I'm serious. Anyway, so he has your voice. There you go. So
but he's not being Jim's not being John Malkovich. John Malkovich being Jim
that's
Johnson.
Right.
That's
it, man. So,
all right. Well, Jim, thank you very much.
Yep,
thank you, guys.
We appreciate all your service, and we look forward to visiting with you maybe in your new role at some
absolutely.
point.
Yeah, would love to do it. And then also, every time y'all invite me, I love coming on. So
you're going to stay here, though. You're living.
So, it'll be just like it was before. I will be here in Wichita Falls, but the family will move down to Austin for the legislative session.
Oh, okay.
It's an all-encompassing thing down there.
That's what we did previously.
Okay.
So sort of know
All
that.
right.
I mean, here it goes. We're already at 45 minutes in. It happens fast. You're one of those guests. You're a great guest, and the conversation flows and it goes all the time, and it's just awesome.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
All right,
appreciate y'all. Thanks.
All right. Well, hang out.
Right.
We're almost done here. So please join us next Friday for
Mark Dora.
Right. Possible
who's
could be.
one of the candidates that's running for your job.
Yep. We had the other guy, Rick Hatcher, here a few weeks ago.
The other guy.
The other guy. I'm sorry. Well, I just right here. Sorry.
Yeah.
But anyway, the other guy. But anyway, we're going to wrap it up here. So as Mike always said, is that we will see you down the road.